Good afternoon, Sava from Football Heritage TV. The breaking news coming from everywhere is that Spurs do not want a striker. Yes, you heard me correctly. Spurs do not want a striker. All of the reports coming out from the Ali Golds, the Paul O'Keefes, the Fabrizio Romanos are all about showing Ange the wingers. Give Ange the wingers. Apparently, he doesn't want centre forwards. With that in mind, Spurs have been linked with, as we know, Brennan Johnson, who's not the main part of this video, but also with a loan move for Fati of Barcelona, and also looking at Johan Bakayoko, the 20-year-old from PSV. What are we trying to do? Are we trying to get the goals and assist ratio up? Are we just looking for pure out-and-out pace? Something needs to change in that forward line. Let's talk about it. Yes, good afternoon. So everyone knows that Spurs need to grab some goals from somewhere. So far, our front three has been in and out of games. I would say largely underwhelming. Some good halves from players, but no real full-on 90 minutes worth of good performances. Yes, it's only 3 games, but this is what a lot of people were worried about with the sale of Harry Kane. Now, whilst I think we will get goals from Doggy at left back, Porro from right back, I think Sarr will get a couple, Basuma will get some, Maddison will get 10, 12 goals. The question is always going to be about the forward line. Now, with that in mind, I think a lot of people have been expecting a centre forward, an out-and-out centre forward, whether that be a Taremi, whether that was a Lukaku, whether that is a Gift Orban, who everyone keeps talking about, whether that was a Jonathan David. You keep naming them, a Santiago Jimenez. We've had those debates all summer with the knowing that Kane was going. Who's the striker going to be? Where are we going to get these goals from? Well, it turns out that that's not the position that Postecoglou wants, apparently. I always caveat with apparently because we never know what's going on. But with that in mind, Spurs have been heavily linked, as by Paul O'Keefe, Alistair Gold, Fabrizio Romano, to 3 players, the 3 candidates that Spurs are looking at. Now, one of them we're not going to go that deep into, but is obviously Brennan Johnson. We'll talk about him tomorrow. Brennan Johnson, obviously the 23-year-old of Nottingham Forest, plays for Wales. More of a right-sided forward, can play through the middle, but is more about the pace and the dribbling and has been very good within transitions. 50 million they want for him. Yep, you heard me right, 50 million. Now, the other 2 players that we are heavily linked with is Ansu Fati of Barcelona on a loan. Obviously had a lot of injury problems the last couple of years, but was at one point highly regarded as one of the best young players in world football. The other player as well is somebody that might not be as well known to people if they don't watch other leagues, is Johan Bakayoko, who plays for PSV. The heir apparent to Madueke after Madueke left to go and play for Chelsea. So I thought we'd just have a look at some of their numbers from the last year. I don't want to go past that because some of these are very young players. And see, how does that stack up? I've got the stats here in front of me. How does that stack up to the stats last season of Kulusevski, Richarlison and Son? Now, obviously, with all of these things, you can look at these stats in whichever way you want. It's difficult to say because a lot of the stats for the Spurs players were playing under a very negative football manager that didn't put emphasis on anything other than Harry Kane. Some of these other players I'm talking about are young. So, for example, I'm going to match up Kulu, Richarlison and Son last season, league games only. And Kulu's 23, Richarlison's 26, Sonny's 31. Then you've got the other 3 I'm going to be looking at is Bakayoko, Fati and Brennan Johnson. Bakayoko is 20, Fati is 20, and Brennan Johnson's 23. So very, very young. Now, take what you will from this, because I'm not saying it's purely goals and assists that are the main driver here. Surely that's got to come into play. That's got to be a massive part of what we need. But it does look from when you look at Kulu and Richarlison, not players with great pace, Sonny, who has slowed down a little bit as he's got older, the three players that we are looking at, Brennan Johnson, Fati and Bakayoko, do have a lot of pace. So let's have a look. Last season, this is only last season in the league. I didn't want to go into European competitions because it's not fair. Some people were in Europe, some weren't, etc., etc. So last season, Kulusevski played 30 league games and got 9 goal assist combinations. Okay, that was 2 goals and 7 assists. Very poor on the goals, not bad on the assists. But I'm going to ask the question, would that be enough if that happened this time round? Now, you've got Richarlison, who played 27 games. Now, granted, all of those games wouldn't have been as a starter. Some of them would have been from the left, some from the right, some up front. But in those 27 games, he got 4 goal assists. He got 3 assists and 1 goal, which, let's be brutally honest, is really, really worrying. Sonny had a better return, not his best season, but he still had a much better return than the other two. 36 games. And on top of that, he got 16 goals and assists, which was 10 league goals, 6 assists. So just under 1 in 2. So it wasn't the end of the world, but for Sonny standards, wasn't the best season. I think everyone can admit that. Now, what that is, that's 93 games and 29 goal assist contributions. Now, if we move, so that's 93 games, 29 goal assists. Now, when you look at Bakayoko, Fati and Johnson, are their numbers much better? I'm just putting this out there. I'm not saying they are. I'm not saying they're not. I'm just putting it out there for everybody, just a bit of food for thought. Now, obviously, that won't be a front three that plays together, but you would say that Son, Richie and Kulu didn't play together all the time because Kane was in there. So Bakayoko has played 23 games in the Dutch league last year and got 10 goal assist contributions, which was 5 goals and 5 assists. Fati played 36 games last season for Barcelona and got 10 goal assists. So like Bakayoko, he got 10 goal and assist contributions. A lot of those were sub appearances, bit like Richarlison. It's difficult to tell. And Brennan Johnson played all 38 league games for Nottingham Forest in the league. He got 8 goals, 3 assists, 11 goal assist contributions. So 97 games, 31 goal assists. So basically like for like with the 93 games and the 29 goal assists. So my question to you is this. None of these players are exceptional goal scorers. They aren't. If you look at that, the facts show that. Sonny has had much better years. And yes, you could say Sonny is the best goal scorer of the lot. But none of those other players are exceptional goal scorers. So the question is, what is it that Ange wants from his winger? These are wingers, right? All 5 of these, other than Richarlison, you would say are out and out wingers. Sonny can go through the middle, right? We know Richarlison's floated out wide, but they're wingers, essentially. None of them are prolific other than Sonny apart from last season. So what are we looking for from a wide man? Now, Bakayoko, Fati and Johnson all have pace to burn. So it would suggest that if they are the 3 names being bandied around, that Ange Postecoglou is looking for that pace. They're looking for that pace to get in behind, that pace to take men on. But then I'll ask this question. If that is what he's looking for, and Bakayoko or Fati or Johnson comes in, what then happens to Kulusevski, the player that we've just bought? We've just bought Kulusevski. Yes, people are going to talk to me about rotation and squad options, but you're then going to have Kulusevski, let's say Brennan Johnson, for argument's sake, one of the other two, Kulusevski, Brennan Johnson, and Solomon that can all play on the right. Then you're going to have Son, Perisic, Hill, and then Solomon can go over there as well and play on the left. So now I'm asking, who starts? What combination do you need? Do you need 2 wide men that are both quick? Do you need 1 wide man that cuts in, 1 wide man that can take his fullback on? Is it about goals and assists? Are the goal assist numbers we're seeing from these players enough to come into the Ange Postecoglou team and cover goals and assists that are needed? The three I've just mentioned, between them, they average 10 each a season. Is that enough? Kulu, though, only got 9 last year. Richarlison, 4. So, food for thought on all of this. Where do you stand with this? Which one of these 3 wingers would you buy? Bakayoko, Fati, Johnson. Which one does Ange want? We're hearing it's Brennan Johnson. Is that because that's the most doable out of the 3? Who starts? If one of these sign, let me know who's your front 3. Loads of combinations you could have. Richarlison through the middle, Sonny through the middle. You have Perisic on the left, Sonny on the left, Richarlison on the left. You could then have Kulu on the right, Solomon on the right, Brennan Johnson on the right. What do we do? The last question to you. Are we making a schoolboy error here by not bringing in an out-and-out centre forward? An Orban? An El Nasri from from Seville, who apparently is going to be in talks with West Ham. I'll be gutted if that happens. An Orban, an El Nesri, a Jimenez, a Taremi. Are we making a mistake? Listen, I'm not saying either way. I'm not judging in this video before everyone has a go at me. I'm asking questions. Lots of food for lots of thought. Let me know. Please like, please subscribe. Thank you for all your support. And we will be live tonight because there's a lot going on in the transfer window. We'll be talking about Jed Spence going out. Hugo Lloris looking like he's going to go out. Reggie is wanted by Man United. Eric Dyer is wanted by Fulham. Tanganga's wanted by Luton. It's all happening. Do any of these forwards go out? There is so much happening. So join me live tonight at 8 p.m. and we'll look into it in more detail. Big up, much love. And as always, come on, you Spurs.